Hello travelers and welcome to Vietnam. Today we'll embark on a journey to explore the mysteries, beauties, and unique culture of this incredible country. Vietnam, with its deep history, breathtaking nature, and rich cultural heritage, is one of the most fascinating destinations in the world. In this video, we'll discover Vietnam's most beautiful places, lifestyle, intercity transportation options, and many other interesting details. If you're ready, let's begin. Vietnam, a country that has been colonized for years, suffered from poverty due to war, and has been suppressed, yet has never given up thanks to its honorable people. From north to south, the warmth and hospitality of the people make a fun Vietnam trip possible. I'll tell you not only about the places to visit in Vietnam, but also everything you need to know before traveling there. There's so much to say about Vietnam. The best thing I can tell you about this lush country is probably, I wish I had visited sooner. As you can see in the photos, the country is shaped like a giant S. The distance from north to south is approximately 1,650 kilometers. For those wondering what language is spoken in Vietnam, it's Vietnamese. Most people don't speak English, but you won't need it. The locals are incredibly warm and helpful. When you open your phone and try to communicate via Google Translate, everyone rushes to help. Vietnam is much more affordable compared to Laos and Thailand. You can easily travel in this country on $40.50 a day. One thing you'll always come across in the country is noodles. Street food is quite famous. You can fill up for just $1. That's why it's said that Vietnamese people rarely cook at home, because it's cheaper to eat out. The capital of the country is Hanoi. The largest cities are Ho Chi Minh City, Danang, and Hoi. These major cities are already must-see places in Vietnam. So where should you go in Vietnam? Ideally, you'd need at least a month for this country. Most backpackers do just that. But let's say you only have a week or less. Then, in my opinion, Ho Chi Minh, Danang, Hoi An, and maybe Hua would suffice. Another option could be the Hanoi, Sapa, Ha Long Bay, and maybe Ninh Binh route. We start our journey with Vietnam's capital, Hanoi. Hanoi is Vietnam's most important city, as well as its capital. Around 2 million people live in the center, and the entire city has a population of approximately 8 million. There are also about 4 million motorbikes in this city. Hanoi is a city that blends the historical with the modern, and is known for its cultural richness. As you wander through the narrow streets of the Old Quarter, you can see centuries-old temples and buildings from the French colonial period. You can take a morning walk around Hoan Kiem Lake and watch the Vietnamese practice Tai Chi here. One of the most interesting places in Hanoi is the Temple of Literature. Known as Vietnam's first university, this place will take you deep into history. Most of the places to visit in Hanoi are located in the Old Quarter. This area is where the bars and restaurants are. At night, the bars, pubs, and clubs in this area are especially packed. The Vietnamese love to have fun even on Monday nights. Hoa Lo Prison is a must-see in Hanoi. During the French colonization, the Vietnamese who rebelled were imprisoned here. Later, during the war, Americans were also held captive here. In fact, the Americans called this prison Hilton Hanoi. Hanoi Street Train is one of the most photographed places in Hanoi. This is because the train passes through a small neighborhood. The locals have taken advantage of this opportunity and opened cafes everywhere, but I believe the trains pass by at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. The Temple of Literature, a Confucian temple often seen in China and countries with similar cultures, is an important site. This temple is over 1,000 years old and was once a university. The most important leaders and statesmen were educated here. It is the most important temple in Hanoi. The Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum is where Vietnam's Uncle Ho, as the locals call him, rests. Ho Chi Minh was the leader of the Communist Party of Vietnam, who defended his country during the war with America, organized his people, and never surrendered. The tomb of Vietnam's savior, Uncle Ho, is right here. I would like to remind you not to wear short shorts, mini skirts, or revealing clothing when visiting. Hanoi is a city that offers both local markets and massive shopping malls. Dong Xuan Market is known as the most famous market in Hanoi. Located directly in the old city center, you can visit and shop here all day. Night markets are also very famous in Hanoi. One of the most famous is the night market setup on Hang Dao Street. Here you can find dozens of spices, souvenirs, and much more. Just a few hours away from Hanoi is Hoi An Bay, world-renowned for its natural beauty. Listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, this bay has a fairy tale atmosphere with its thousands of limestone islets. Here you can take a boat tour to explore the islets, discover caves, and swim in the emerald green waters. Hoi An Bay is just one of Vietnam's natural wonders and is a must-visit place. Hoi An Bay is like something out of a movie and captivates you at first sight. Along Bay, home to around 2,000 islands, is one of the few places where you can witness nature's visual spectacle with its emerald-colored sea and suddenly rising islets. Along Bay stands out not only for its beauty, but also for its legends in Vietnam. For instance, there is a dragon legend. Once upon a time, the dragons of the Vietnamese king stopped the enemy ships trying to conquer the country in this bay. The mother dragon threw emeralds from her mouth along with the baby dragons to protect the soldiers, and these turned into stones over time, eventually becoming these islets. That's why the bay is called Ha Long Bay, meaning descending dragon. There are 3 options to get to Ha Long: renting a car, taking a bus, or reaching Ha Long Bay with local tour companies. On the Ha Long Bay tour, there are actually 4 points to visit: caves, observation points, and islands. Of course, there are also floating villages in this bay, but to see them, you need to take a tour with at least 1 overnight stay. Binh is a small place just 105 kilometers from Hanoi, with about 100,000 people living there. It's a village like those on postcards, with lush green rice fields and tiny houses. Binh is called the Ha Long Bay on land because there are many mountains and hills here, but not on the sea, like in Ha Long Bay on land. What makes Binh so special are its karstic rocks and legendary river canal tours. Boating in tiny boats among the rice fields and then exploring the villages on a scooter brings a sense of peace. Our next stop after Binh is Danang. Danang is undoubtedly, without question, Vietnam's most beautiful city to live in. It's a place with white sandy beaches along the coast, like Vietnam's Miami. On one side there are long beaches, and on the other, lush green hills. The central area has more beaches and markets, but right next to it, Sun World Park in Bana Hills is indescribably beautiful. The Golden Bridge in Bana Hills is also worth seeing. Additionally, Sun Dung Cave is known as the world's largest cave, containing a vast forest, rivers, and its ecosystem. Exploring San Dung Cave is an adventure, but seeing this natural wonder will be an unforgettable experience in your life. Our next stop after Danang and Hoi An is the Venice of Vietnam. With cafes, temples, restaurants, and more at every corner, all with a hint of Japanese and Chinese architecture, it feels like a journey back in time. Listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, Hoi An is home to only 120,000 people. Hoi An was once known as the heart of the region's port trade. Nowadays, it has become the darling of tourism, attracting tourists from all over the world. Some people call this place the Venice of Vietnam, simply because of its canals. In Hoi An, you can rent a bicycle to explore the surroundings, visit local markets, and taste traditional Vietnamese cuisine. Especially here, you can take cooking classes to learn how to make Vietnamese delicacies like pho, chow lao, and fresh spring rolls. The next stop on our journey is the heart of southern Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh City, formerly known as Saigon. Ho Chi Minh City is perhaps the saddest city in Vietnam. Until 1976, it was called Saigon, but after Vietnam's founding leader Ho Chi Minh liberated the country, its name was changed to Ho Chi Minh. It's a city filled with modern skyscrapers, historic buildings from the French colonial era, and remnants from the war period. Ho Chi Minh, Vietnam's most populous city, is home to nearly 9 million people. Ho Chi Minh City, formerly known as Saigon, is located in southern Vietnam. Cambodia lies to the west. Notre Dame Cathedral and the War Remnants Museum are just a few of the must-see places in the city. Additionally, you can take a one-day Mekong River tour and a one-day visit to the Cu Chi tunnels to see the traces of the Vietnam War up close. The best time to visit Vietnam is from December to April, especially in May when the monsoon rains start. The humidity can become very oppressive. In this region, there are 2 seasons, dry and rainy. The rainy season begins in May and ends in October. According to my research, the best times to visit are March, April, or November, December. Additionally, in metropolises like Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh, and even Da Nang, you can find every type of cuisine you can imagine. There are delicious, high-quality restaurants, not to mention the tropical fruit fruits. You can find pineapples, mangoes, and passion fruits everywhere. Fruits like tangerines and apples are expensive here. Of course, meat, fish, and chicken are also widely consumed. They have a dish called pho, which is their most famous. You can even find it for as low as $1, and it's quite filling. Vietnam is also a very affordable country for shopping. In general, you can find silk clothing, handicrafts, iconic hats, bamboo, and similar wood products and alcohol, especially the rice-based kind, at very reasonable prices. Additionally, in metropolises like Danang, Ho Chi Minh, and Hanoi, you can find plenty of markets, electronic stores, and malls. In terms of nightlife, Vietnam is neither as wild as Thailand nor as quiet as Laos. It's somewhere in between. In particular, Da Nang, Hanoi, and Ho Chi Minh have many nightclubs, bars, pubs, and more. However, there aren't many parties where excessive alcohol is consumed. Things are more organized and calm. Most places close before midnight, and those that stay open don't spill out into the streets with loud music. Alcohol prices in the nightlife scene are moderate. Typically, a cocktail costs around 150,000 dong, which is about $6. Vietnamese people are warm, friendly, helpful, and respectful. Family is very important. Vietnamese women work in every field, in rice paddies, software companies, and restaurants. Daily life in Vietnam is an interesting blend of deep-rooted traditions and modernism. People wake up early and start their day with fresh coffee and pho soup. Traditional markets still remain the center of social life. You'll see that Vietnamese people are friendly and hospitable. Bicycles and motorcycles are an essential part of life here. Traffic, especially in big cities, may seem chaotic at first glance, but there is an order to everything. Additionally, Vietnam is the world's second largest coffee producer. The coffee culture is a significant part of social life here. Vietnamese men generally do the more physically demanding jobs. One of the country's largest sources of income is agriculture, and both men and women work together in it. Women usually wear traditional clothing. Religion is important to these people. Most temples are packed, but of course, the number of non-believers is not small either. The country is not as unsafe as it is sometimes perceived, but still, it's better not to wander down endless alleys. Also, I would suggest always wearing your bag in front of you and not keeping valuables in your back pocket. In terms of accommodation, Vietnam is far more affordable than countries like Thailand. This is because labor is cheap here. The average monthly income is around $100 to $150 per person. That's why hotel prices are very reasonable. Before you book accommodation in this country, be sure to check out the Vietnam Hotel's website. Sign up first, then choose the city you're going to. You'll see that you can find hotels for as low as $5 or as high as $50, and most of them are worth every penny. Vietnam, with its honorable people, friendly locals, and stunning natural sights, is a country where you'll find yourself saying, "I wish I had come sooner." Vietnam is a unique country where history, nature, culture, and flavors come together. Every corner has a different story waiting for you to discover. In this video, we've explored just a few, but this amazing country has much more to offer. If you want to discover Vietnam, pack your bags and start exploring this enchanting country. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.